So let's talk about the new 2025 Dragon Ball game. Oh my goodness, dude. It has been several months. I think it's been around over 7 months since this game got announced. What game am I talking about? Dragon Ball Project Multi. Some of y'all probably forgot this game really exists, and some of y'all probably don't even really know this game exists because at the time when this got announced, which was back, I believe, in early August of 2024, Sparking Zero was still all the hype. That was the most anticipated Dragon Ball game at the time, and some people didn't even get a chance to try out the beta of this, which was a big surprise because right after the announcement of this game, they said a beta is coming. We didn't even have a Sparking Zero demo or beta to play publicly, and they were, offering this for people to try out. And I gotta say, the game is really fun. It's pretty addicting. It's personally not my cup of tea when it comes to a genre for a game, but because it is Dragon Ball, of course, I'm gonna be all over it and playing it. I did play a good amount when the beta actually launched. They had a beta during the late stages of, I believe, August into very early September. I can't remember if there were issues to the point where they had to do another beta. There might have been, but for the most part, I don't recall there being a ton of problems with this game. But we're going to go over this. I'm going to kind of catch you guys up to speed on this game and what to look forward to, because this is officially going to be releasing this year. At least that's what the planned date is. So be sure to drop a like, subscribe here on the channel, ring my notification bell if you guys want to keep on seeing more videos on Dragon Ball video games and just content in general for the Dragon Ball series. So let's go ahead and get into this. So on the official page, which you can give them a follow, I would advise giving them a follow because you're going to be getting updates and news from this account over anything, right? Unless Bandai Namco posts like a new trailer or something like that. But we haven't had any information or news since, I believe, when was the last update of this? September 3rd? They just gave a little, note here talking about, they appreciate feedback and all that. They had the regional beta test. Kind of summarized. It was a very short run for this. And again, Sparking Zero at the time, I feel like overshadowed this, and it kind of was just the main thing that people were concerned about. A lot of people didn't really even try this out for the most part, but for those people that did try it out, I saw very positive reception, okay? I did not see any, gripes or really big complaints like a lot of Dragon Ball games usually have before they come out. Obviously, there's a lot of hype with it, but because not many people were playing it, we didn't get like a whole lot of feedback. Probably enough for them so that they could patch up certain things. They had a lot of notes and patch notes that they were going to be going over, on their official site and everything. But as you can see, there is no beta test planned right now. I think that might have been the only one that they were going to have. They could do another one this year before the game launches, but I cannot tell you when this game is releasing. It could release literally at any point in this year. Like, they could drop a trailer tomorrow if they wanted to and say, hey, by the way, guys, this is coming out in summer of 2025 or come out in fall. Now, this year is packed full of Dragon Ball content. Okay, right now, the only thing we're really looking forward to other than this game, if you are interested in a game like this, is, DLC and updates for already existing games. Sparking Zero is supposed to be getting its DLC this month. Xenoverse 2 has an upcoming DLC that's probably coming within the next couple of months, okay? Kakarot within the next few months, around July to, I guess, September-ish, is going to be their first round of the Daima DLC. So all the DLC right now is currently Daima focused. Dokkan has updates all the time. Legends is going to be getting its anniversary. What are they on? 7th anniversary or some shit? That's coming, I believe, in June/late May. So there's a lot packed for this year. They could even drop this in, I think, in my opinion, I think the best release for this would probably be either late fall or early winter this year, okay? That's just my opinion. I feel like it's probably going to be during the fall, just because a lot of Dragon Ball games usually release in October for the most part, at least recently, right? But yeah, any point in time that they could drop this, or something could happen. It could get delayed to 2026. I doubt that's going to happen because Sparking Zero didn't really have that issue, but this is a side game or a spin-off game, if you want to call it that, because it's not like a main series, main focus game like Xenoverse 2, Sparking Zero, Kakarot, and Fighters. Those are the big heavy hitters, okay? Even though this is published by Bandai Namco, it's developed by Ganbarion, which Ganbarion usually does not main series games usually. I mean, for at least when it comes to Dragon Ball, they've done Dragon Ball Fusions, which fantastic game, right? Anybody that has played Fusions knows that they absolutely cooked with it. It was a very high quality game. Obviously, it's on the 3DS, so there's only so much you can do with it, but they put a lot of love into that game, and they have done the same for this game as well. The models, I would say, other than Dragon Ball FighterZ and Kakarot, this probably has some of the best looking models. These are like on point to like Toriyama's kind of style, in my opinion. I think it looks like they took the manga and they just boom, straight out of the manga. It looks like it. Like there's a lot of games usually base it off of certain designs. Like for example, Xenoverse 2, I feel like that looks more like something from Yamamoto. And then Sparking Zero uses more of the Shintani designs from Dragon Ball Super Broly. So sometimes that doesn't translate well for other characters, and sometimes it does look really good for certain characters. But this one, they kind of had it on, model to like what the manga looks like, in my opinion. Like if you look at Trunks, like bro's got the fluffy hair and everything, and they cooked with it, right? And there are tons of costumes and stuff, which I mean, on screen you'll probably see some gameplay of some of the stuff, from the game, how it looks, how stylistic it is, the background music, and just the music in general is just really, really catchy. It's nice. It's very nice. The only issue is that it is a MOBA, and I'm not saying that as a bad thing. It's just that MOBAs for a Dragon Ball game aren't really going to be super popular among most Dragon Ball fans, okay? I think everybody will give it a chance and try it out, and hey, they maybe might like it. But the issue with it is because it is a MOBA, right? It is not the genre that a lot of fans usually get into. Most Dragon Ball fans want to play a fighting game or some type of like action adventure type of game, right? So a game like Kakarot, FighterZ, Sparking Zero, Xenoverse 2, like those games really, really sell and do well. This is a game that's like a top-down view, so you're not really seeing like a whole lot. I mean, there's a lot going on, obviously, but it's not like a traditional like fighting game, for example, okay? And it is an action game. It's not like Breakers, so I feel like this game will definitely perform better than Dragon Ball The Breakers and be a lot more popular than that. But I think this is a game that as long as they keep consistently updating it, which we know they're going to do, there's going to be, microtransactions, League of Legends, Pokemon Unite, or whatever that one is called. There are lots of MOBA games out there that have made a shit ton of money, and that seems to be what they are trying to go for with this. It's Bandai Namco, right? Bandai Namco, they're going to try to make as much money from these games as they possibly can, okay? So, for the most part, I think this game has a very, very promising future, and I think a lot of people will start jumping onto it that are not Dragon Ball fans, right? Or even maybe not even anime fans, just people who are fans of this genre might be like, oh, okay, this is a new MOBA game. It has different abilities. There are new transformations, but, for somebody that isn't super familiar with anime or Dragon Ball, they've probably at least heard of it, and they're like, oh, they made a MOBA game of this? Well, I play MOBAs up the ass. I play League. I play Pokemon Unite. Like, I don't give a fuck what it is. They could skin it over for any, series out there, and as long as it's a MOBA, I'm gonna play the shit out of it. So there could be a lot of potential. Like, that's the thing. A lot of these games, when they get announced and they get shown, there's always all this potential. It's just if they can execute it right. And so far, I would say this game is doing a good job, even though we haven't really had a whole lot from it, right? So, like I said, the period was very short. It was only about like maybe a week or two that they had, and they had a very restricted regions that you could play. It was only Canada, France, Germany, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, UK, and United States, which is a good range of countries and regions that you could play it in. So another thing that you guys probably don't know about this, if you haven't followed it, is that this is not on consoles, right? I would say traditional consoles. Like, you cannot get this on Switch, PS5, or Xbox, as far as I know. Right now, it's only planned for Steam and mobile. Yeah, that's going to be a thing that doesn't make too many people happy. I mean, there are people that are down for that, right? And it is a free-to-play game as well. So, like I said, the potential of this is huge. A lot of people will have the opportunity to try this out and see if they like it or not, right? That's the problem with, these bigger games that come out. You have to pay up front like $70, for example, like Sparking Zero. You know, people paid over $100 for that game. This game is different. You can just play it for free, and if you don't like it, you don't have to, you know, you don't feel like you wasted your money at all, right? But because it's on mobile, I feel like there will be some restrictions, at least when it comes to the PC, because they have to make it, you know, obviously optimize it for mobile. But let me just say, so far, it's been immaculate. I really haven't had any issues other than my phone getting really hot, and that just could be because of my phone that I have. My phone's not super old or anything. It's just that I have a lot of stuff, like a lot of files and, you know, other games and things on my phone and other things running at the same time. And it could be because of that. I don't know. Y'all let me know down in the comments if you did try this out on your mobile device, whether it be iOS or Android. Did you have any other issues? I thought it ran very smooth, though. I had no problems with that. And same thing with Steam. It ran very, very well. Like, it was full HD, 60 FPS, no, you know, frame drops or anything. Even the online, I mean, obviously this is an online game. Playing a match, right? It was pretty damn good. I like it. From what I recall, I don't recall there being any problems. Like, all the gameplay that you've been seeing, you know, throughout this video that's on screen, that kind of gives you a good idea of how, you know, nice and clean and smooth this game actually runs, okay? And it's not super graphically intensive. Like, they're requiring at minimum 8 gigs of RAM, which, I mean, most people who play games on PC, that's like nothing to them, right? AMD Ryzen 3 or an Intel Core i5. Like, just think about that. Like, obviously, they're recommended you need, you know, better stuff, but an i5 processor, like my old ass PC that I have over here that I use for other things, that has an i5, like, and that shit's from like 2015, okay? And i5 is a very old thing, right? Like, that's like that's like a dinosaur at that point. And then NVIDIA GeForce GTX 960, y'all, or Radeon R9 280X. Like, those are very, very old graphics cards, right? You don't really need that and too much. And you only need not even 5 gigs of RAM, or sorry, RAM storage. My bad. It was 8 gigs of memory. So it's not that graphically demanding, okay? It's still a very good-looking game. Like I said, it kind of reminds me of Dragon Ball FighterZ, the way that the animations are and everything. But the style of it is obviously a little bit different, but it kind of gives me that idea, right? For the most part, okay? So the last update that they had on the conclusion here was that they said, our priority remains to provide long-term fun for all the fans of the Dragon Ball Project Multi, although many of the designs listed above may change at launch, which, again, they had a ton of different things that they've, you know, wanted to fix. Like, things that were positively received was that there's a high interest in future hero characters, okay? At launch, I think, in terms of the, the beta that they had, it was like Goku, Krillin, Kid Gohan, Trunks, Vegeta, Android 18. They had Zamasu in there, and I think Cooler and Majin Buu, if I recall correctly. So there weren't a ton of characters, but they had a lot of different variety, and they all have their own unique, you know, like, category. Like, Goku and I believe Android 18 and Trunks were like power strength like types or whatever, like mainly like, you know, attack types, okay? And then like Vegeta, for example, was a defense type character, and then Kid Gohan and Buu and Krillin were technique types, which ring a bell. If you played Dragon Ball Fusions, that was kind of the like rock paper scissors thing that they had. Obviously this is different, but different characters are going to have different categories for what they excel in, right? So it's like, oh, well, if I want a tanky character, which I use Vegeta a lot, he was very good to use because he did eat the fuck out of, you know, hits and everything. So that was very good. I would have to agree with most of this. General rules are not too confusing. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward if you guys don't know how the game works, if you've never played a MOBA. It's 2 teams with 4 players on each team, okay? So the goal of it is to run to the other side of the arena and get the Dragon Ball, okay? But you're going to have to destroy, like, you know, minions and like bots and everything in between, or fight the God of Destruction. But you need Zeno, I think, if I recall correctly, in order to fight the God of Destruction too. So you don't want to risk that. Fighting the God of Destruction on your own or even with some other team members isn't a great idea. They'll kill you in like 2 seconds. So the God of Destruction is kind of like the main big like defense character that is guarding basically the Dragon Ball, okay? So you want to make sure you're not stupid, okay? Don't be dumb and don't go in there and try to be a hero, right? You know, this is a team game. It's very team oriented. So you need to make sure that, you know, you have all 4 with you at the same time. Like, you know, obviously you can break it up two to two, or if you want to break up all 4, but at the point where you're getting to the God of Destruction, you want to make sure the whole team is there, and you got Zeno, right? Zeno helps too. So for the most part, it's a very straightforward game. It's not difficult at all. MOBAs are like, that's why League and like Pokemon Unite are so popular, is because, you know, anybody can just pick it up and play it. It's nothing too crazy. Like a fighting game, for example, like Dragon Ball FighterZ, there's a lot of learning. Like you got to make sure you know all the mechanics, the combos, and all this stuff. This one is just, oh, okay, you have a couple of special attacks. There's going to be a cooldown period, so you can't spam them, obviously. You know, certain levels, whenever you're fighting characters, you'll level up, right? Fighting the bots or the enemies or minions. The higher the level, the more, you know, stat boosts that you have. Like, it's pretty straightforward for the most part, okay? Yeah, the ease of control, like I said, it was very easy to control. You can do it with your, you know, on the smartphone, or you can do it with your mouse or whatever. Network latency was not detrimental. Yeah, never had an issue with the online experience. Didn't feel like it was lagging or really even that much of an input delay. Maybe there was a bit, but nothing too crazy. I felt like I was just playing the game like normally. Like I like if I was playing the game with like a group of 3 other friends that were right next to me. Felt that good, okay? Isometric views did not diminish the value of the world of the Dragon Ball. Yeah, I can see why some people think that it would, or it feels that way. I think the overall world is fine. It's a MOBA, like that's how they all look. So it's not really like they can't really do anything different. And it's cool because when a cutscene plays for a certain character or like an animation, you know, it looks really fucking good. And like they'll kind of like have like they'll appear in front while the gameplay is still going on from that viewpoint, right? And like there'll be like a character like Vegeta will use like a big bang like right there, and it looks really fucking cool. General aesthetics are in tune with the fan expectations. Yes. It's a very, very beautiful game. Stylistic and everything. The choices that they went for. Gambarion, they are definitely Dragon Ball fans when it comes to this, okay? And all the costumes and stuff. Like, what Dragon Ball game, at least in a modern day, like Sparking Zero could never, right? Has Krillin's suit, his white suit, or, Vegeta Badman costume. Like, for a lot, I know that sounds crazy, but a lot of Dragon Ball games these days don't add in, like, the not filler arc, but like these like more wackier outfits, okay? Goku wearing the Aloha shirt, right, from the special Post Boy Piccolo outfit from that little, you know, filler episode where they try to get licenses and shit. Demand for cosmetic items exceeded expectation. Now, again, that could be an issue because we know what that means. Microtransactions, people want, you know, pay for this stuff, but I mean, people want that shit. That just goes to show that they're really excited about this game and they really want to see more cosmetics, like outfits and shit, right? And there are also support characters like Kaba, and I think, if I recall correctly, Bola was also a support, which was kind of surprising, so I thought that was kind of cool. Now, negatives, certain game systems felt unrewarding. It's just a beta right now, so I feel like, you know, give it some time and everything. Specific character roles, tanks outperformed others to extreme degree. That's why I use Vegeta as an example as a character that I really liked, because the tanky characters, like the, I mean, they call them tanks, but like the defense type characters, they're really fucking good. Like, they still do a decent, like, good chunk of damage, but because they're so defensive, they're so hard to kill, right? Slightly confusing UI. There's a lot going on. Like I told you, like there's a lot going on screen. The overall goal and the gameplay is very straightforward, like I said, but the UI and everything, like the whole overlay and setup of like items or like attacks, and then like the health bars, it's just so much going on screen, right? Again, understandable because League of Legends and, you know, Pokemon Unite, they have that kind of same system. Friend/party system bug. There might have been an issue with that. I don't really recall that, but it could have been just like an inconsistent thing. Lacking mobile tailored interface. Again, nothing that I was really noticing too much. Crashes in high temperature hardware on the mobile. Yeah, I didn't get a crash. I personally did it, but yes, my phone was hot as fuck. It felt like it was about to explode, right? Because again, whenever you get into the gameplay, a lot is happening, okay? Too many bots, yeah, I would have to say. But, I mean, for the first time playing it, I mean, it helps level up, right? But, yeah, there were a lot of bots in general. And what they mean by bots, there might be more in tune with it being that the opponents that you're fighting are not actual real people. So maybe that's what I think that's what they're actually meaning. Not enough difference between rounds to warrant long-term replayability. Yeah, like I said, this game, because it's a MOBA, it's a hit or miss with people, right? If you and the reason why there's not enough difference between rounds is because there were very limited characters, right, at the time. So I could definitely see it feeling that way. But the more characters, the more, you know, people will probably get into it, right? But yes, I understand why some people will fall off this game. I might be one of them, to be honest. I'll definitely try it out, and I'll try to keep up with updates. But there are just too many mobile games right now, and even though this can be played on Steam and PC, you gotta really have friends to play with, okay? And, you know, the problem with that is, like, for me personally, I'm not big into multiplayer games, okay? If it is, I usually play with friends that, like, come over, or, like, my brother, for example, okay? And I've said that in many games, like with Sparking Zero, Bleach Rebirth, or Souls. That's how I have the most fun, is when I'm, you know, with a group of friends, like we're all physically present here. That's a good experience to me. Playing online has never been that good of an experience, but this game is different because it has, like, as far as I've, you know, played from the beta, it ran really well. It was really good for the most part, okay? And I didn't really have too many issues other than on mobile overheating the device. But yeah, it's just that, like, I can't see myself long-term playing this game. It's definitely going to be a short-term thing when it first comes out. It's going to be like Breakers, for example. Like, a game that is very online-oriented, it requires you to be playing online with people online, isn't very appealing to me, okay? I personally like to play single-player games. Like, I love Zelda, or like a 3D Mario game, or even like a Pokemon game. Those are kind of like my bread and butter when it comes to gaming. I'm a very, very casual gamer at my core, for the most part. Like, even like a game like Marvel Rivals, for example. It's a great game. I don't think it's bad or anything. It's just not a game that I'm too interested in, because it's, again, very multiplayer oriented. You do have to play and rely on your team and everything, and I just don't really like doing that. I like to just play single player. It keeps it very simple and straightforward for me, and that's just how I am. That's just how my brain works, okay? When it starts to get, oh, you got to have this whole team and have, like, this whole synergy and everything, I'm not into that too much. But like I said, I will definitely be trying this game out again whenever it gets released, or if they have another beta. And again, when I first tried it out, it was, you know, it definitely felt like I was getting a bit of an addiction, but that usually happens with every, you know, new game that comes out, especially with Dragon Ball. I remember when Fighters had a beta, I was addicted to that shit. And I fell off pretty quickly on Fighters too, just because I was just like, you know, I got what I wanted out of it. You know, I played through the story mode and everything, and, you know, I did play a little bit online with that game, but at the same time, I was just like, well, I'm kind of, I don't know. It's just not something I got too much into, okay? And it's the same thing with all these other new games that come out these days, okay? But yeah, other than that, I think that the game has a lot of potential. I think it's going to be a great experience for people that like MOBAs, or people who play, you know, just mobile games a lot. Like I said, we have Dokkan and Dragon Ball Legends and all that shit that is still getting updates, and I just feel like for some people it's going to be very hard to keep up with all three of these games, because Project Multi, like I said, has a lot of potential of having, like, a very long run for this, okay? Depending on how well it performs, okay? When a game releases, especially an anime game, it usually starts to have negative feedback surrounded with it, okay? At first, it gets hype. People are like, oh, we're anticipating this. And then when the game finally comes out, they play it for like a week, maybe 2 weeks, at most a month. And then after that, they fall off. Not everyone, but a majority of players do. You saw it with Sparking Zero. It happens with Fighters. It happens with Xenoverse. It happens with all the games, right? So unfortunately, that is always something to be concerned about. But for the most part, I mean, this game, it has like 6,000 followers right now, and I know that's not a lot, but this is just because not too many people know about it. That's why I'm making this video to talk about it. But it's been getting some change list history updates. Doesn't mean anything. I really don't think that's something that we should look too deep into, but it's like every single day there are things that are probably being, you know, checked on it, at least for the Steam version. So don't look too crazy into it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the game. I'm definitely going to try it out more. I will say, like I said, a very beautiful game. One of the best looking Dragon Ball games, I think. And hopefully you guys are excited for it as well. This is all we're getting this year for a new game, as far as I know. Okay, there's always potential of an announcement for another game, but I wouldn't put too much money on it just because there's so much DLC coming out for the other games right now because Daima. So it might be a while. It might be a few years, a couple of years until we get a brand new, you know, big Dragon Ball game. If you know what I mean. Thanks for watching. Drop a like, subscribe here on the channel, ring my notification bell. Peace out.
This is Broly, and you are watching SLOplays. Make sure to subscribe, or else I'll destroy your entire planet.